Did you girls eat your supper? Melly, where are you going? Did you eat your supper? Let me go. I'm going to go check. No, you didn't eat it all. These girls will pick at it, and then they'll come back and they'll eat a little more. And then Melly will pick her bowl up and take it out there and eat some more. Okay, I got to go make my movie. Well, we're going to walk, and I'm going to tell you a little story. While I'm doing that, I'll stop and show you some updates of what I've done around my place while I'm telling you the story. Now, this story would have took place about 1990. In fact, I know it was 1990. A lot happened in 1990. And I was working for a newspaper. We would work nights. And what was there? Four of us? About four of us. A small town newspaper, Chardon, Ohio. Well, when we would get done, usually around 3 in the morning, well, we'd go fishing a lot of times. We'd pack up our poles and go to a different spot. We had all kinds of ponds we had in the area, rivers. We'd try one spot. We'd fish a few hours. We didn't get nothing. We'd go somewhere else. Now I'm going to show you where I cleared the land. Now this was all dirt last year. If y'all remember, I've got all this cut down. Look at this. And if you look over here, man, we got actual grass growing back in there. I've been going through picking up rocks, but look at this. This was all dirt. I should be able to mow this by next year. I'm just waiting for some of these tree stumps to get a little more rotten, like that one. But it's looking good. Got it all the way up to here. Now, if you had seen where I cleared the land, these were woods all the way. I mean, at one point it was overtaking these graves, dog graves, and I cleared all this back here. So, let's go up this way. So one morning, we decided to go fishing on the Grand River in Painesville, Ohio. Now, I'd never fished there, but I'd lived there for a short time. I was living with my girlfriend. We weren't doing too good. We weren't getting along, so I wouldn't hang out. I would hang out with the boys as much as I could. Probably one of the reasons why we didn't get along. You know how it is when you're 24 years old and young and drinking beer all the time with your buddies. Yeah. So we end up going down to the Grand River. I'm pretty sure that's what it was called, the Grand River, yeah. And there's a bridge that goes through main dragon town, and then down below is the river. But there's this area that you can walk down, and there's a nice big shore, and you can stand on shore and fish. Real good place for catfish. And I don't remember us ever catching much. But when we went down there was a man down there sitting in one of those old lawn chairs, you know, the woven tweed looking pattern. And we struck up a conversation with him. He said he was on vacation. Looked like an old homeless guy. But he said he was on vacation. He's going to be there a week or so. And he was giving us some tips on how to catch the catfish here. There, he had a big stringer full of them. We didn't stick around too long. We came back a couple days later, and he's still there on vacation. And, you know, we get to talking to him again. Well, I don't live too far from there. So that weekend, I decided, well, I'm going to go down there and hang out with this dude. I mean, he was a real fun guy to hang out with, and knew a bunch of stories. And he claimed to be a Vietnam veteran. But I picked up pretty soon that I don't think he was, because he didn't have the lingo of somebody that was in the Army. He claimed to be in the Army. He's a Vietnam veteran. I ain't saying he wasn't, But if you're a veteran, if you've been in the Army, you know if somebody has been in or not just by how they talk. And I didn't get that feeling from him, but I could have been wrong. So, well, let me show you. This is where the swing was, right here. I know the shade, the shade is probably messing with the camera. That's where I had the swing where you guys been seeing. So I went today, spent a few hours, and now there's where the swing's at. 25 bags of red mulch. Got a little couple of chairs there. Got the swing nice and level. So now when you see my videos sitting in that chair, this will be the backdrop. Just like this. I've got some small 2-foot rebar. I'm going to put some in the backs and some in the fronts of these and get them squared up so they don't roll around. I don't think they're going anywhere anyway, but you can see that one needs to be pounded down a little. I'm not going to drill through them. Just going to put a couple in the front, a couple in the back so that they can't move. Hey, you, listen to me. That is not Tilly's pooping grounds. Do you understand me? If I see a doodle in there, you're in trouble. Do you understand? She's looking at this, and I don't want to see no diggings in there either. And under there is some big, thick weed mat. So, you know, this stuff ain't going to last forever, but I'll be able to enjoy it for the winter. Good 6 months out of the year. And what do we got? It's about, I don't know, 15 by 12. I wanted a little extra area over here. Actually, I wanted this centered, but there was nowhere level without doing a bunch of digging. And then I took a socket set and tightened all these down. And they were pretty loose because this was the display model that I took. It was the last one they had. So that's what I got done today. So I believe his name was Carl, if I remember right. I'll have to ask my brother because my brother would come on the weekends and he'd hang out with us. We'd go down the river. This dude didn't have no money. So I didn't mind. He was he was probably in his early 40s, I would say. Had a fish hook in his hat. If you looked at the thumbnail, that's pretty close to what he looked like. And guy had the best stories, man. And he always liked to give young guys advice and things. And so for that whole summer, just about, I'd go there on the weekends because me and the girlfriend wasn't getting along at all. And she'd go to her mother's or something, and we did our own thing. Well, weeks go by, I would pick up steaks and bring potatoes, and we'd put a little campfire out there on the beach, and my brother would come down. We'd all sit around drinking beer. I brought a boom box one time and had a bunch of CDs, and I was playing some Dwight Yoakam. And he looks at me, and he looks at my brother, and he goes, "Man, I like that Dion Yoakum." That's what he called it, Dion Yoakum. So that's my brother and me always think about that whenever that comes on. So this went on for weeks for most of the summer. He's still on vacation, and he had a tarp, a makeshift tent just made out of a tarp, and that was it. And so I bought him a really big tarp. I bought him a couple pocket knives I had. I'd bring him water. I knew the guy was homeless. I knew he was, but he was too proud to admit it. He was on vacation, see. So I would bring him things and he would accept them, especially beer. He didn't do drugs or anything like that. And, the guy was very intelligent, very, very intelligent. And he had some stories. For a guy 43 years old or so, he had some good stories. You didn't know which ones were BS and which ones weren't, but they were fun. It was just fun. One of them guys, fun to he just says everything right. And, a guy's friend. Well, I decide I'm taking a trip to Las Vegas. That's a whole nother video. This is the one where I took $500 and I was broke in 2 hours and had to stay there for 7 days. Yeah, that trip. So when I got back, well, I'll tell you this, I had to park my car at the airport because my brother, or whoever I had arranged to take me to the airport, didn't show up. I think it was a coworker. So I had to drive and park in one of them $14 a day spots. So when I got back, I didn't have a dime to my name. And they let me slide, and they were going to send me a bill. So anyway, I get home, go pack up my fishing pole, and it was on a weekend. Pack up my fishing pole. I'm going down there. I'm going to do some fishing with Carl. I pick up some beer. I head that way. I walk down the path to the shore of the river. I see the tent, but I see a lot of debris scattered about. And I don't see Carl. I see his chair sitting out there on the riverbank, but I don't see Carl. So I scream, I'm yelling for him, hey, Carl, where you at? Where you at? No answer. I look everywhere. He ain't there. I look inside his tent and I'm kind of cringing. You know, I'm like, oh man, is he in here? You know, is he dead? No, nobody was in there, but the knives that I'd given him, pretty nice pocket knives, were in there. And it just looked like a mess. And I figure, well, maybe the police came down. He got tossed in the can or something. So I went down to the jail, which wasn't far away, and I seen, you know, I asked it. I didn't even know his last name. I said, did y'all arrest a guy named Carl over the week that was down there at Grand River? Nope, nobody'd heard of him. Called the hospital around there. Nobody'd heard of him. Nothing. Nobody knew. And I even talked to a local police officer there that I saw at a gas station. No, they'd never seen the guy. And he had told me that they knew he was down there on vacation and they didn't bother him. They didn't care. But that guy said they'd never seen him. And it wasn't that big of a town. You know, I imagine they had 15 officers or so, but never found out what happened to this guy. You know, sometimes people pop into your life. Maybe there were some things things and stories that he had told me about that I had remembered over the years that have helped me. Or maybe he's just somebody to go fish with when I was going through a rough time. But I think you should never question why somebody suddenly appears in your life and then they're gone. I have no idea. And I will mention, when I got back from Las Vegas, I opened the door to my house and everything was gone. She'd left me. Yep. So maybe, I don't know. Don't know, but I'll never forget the old dude. I'm sure he's probably, yeah, he'd still be alive, but you know, that was 35 years ago, so the guy'd probably be, what, 75 or so? He'd be around. But he was on vacation, you see. Well, that's it. Let's get one more look at the area here. I like it. Wasn't too fun packing 25 bags of that mulch over here. I used my gorilla cart. Came through there. I got my truck in here one day somehow to pull this tree down that I had, and I don't remember how I got in here. Must have been through here, but I couldn't pull in there now because I got all these posts there. That's the only way I could see that I ever got back in here, because I was hoping I could back right up and unload this mulch, but it wasn't too bad. 30-40 pound bags, I guess they are. All right, y'all, thanks for watching. Happy trails.